Good morning, YouTube. Today's video is going to be about the deep state and how it got corrupted. Let's see, I'm trying to think of how much I should tell you about who I am. Well, there's plenty out there in the public domain. You can research me all you want. But if I were to, for the purposes of this video, it's, well, I'm someone that grew up in Washington, D.C. My father worked for the U.S. Army at a research and development lab. You probably know some of his work. He built the very first pair of night vision goggles. He actually brought them home one night and let me and my brothers play with it. I'm guessing that probably violated some regulation. And our mother, her first job, she was a career government worker, and her first job was with the Office of Strategic Services, which later, in 1947, became the CIA. You see, my parents met in Washington, D.C. after the war. My father served in the Pacific as a Marine, and he was stationed at Quantico when after the war. Okay, and that's where my parents met and married. Okay, and then started having us. There's lots more. I have a lot of siblings. Let's put it that way. Okay, and you know, we've been around the government, the federal government, our entire lives. You know, everybody that we grew up with, their parents all worked for the government, and now most of them work for the government too. And we talk, right? And it was in this environment that I developed a certain hobby. And my hobby is that I like to collect secrets. Yes. You see, knowing what the secrets are is very useful in Washington if you live there. Anyway, and I'm going to share information that was derived from some of the secrets with you today. Okay, now back to the subject of the video. How did the deep state become corrupted? And this is my version of the history. I'm sure there'll be others with different perspectives, but in my opinion, the corruption started in the late 1970s when the director of the CIA had all this information in a file, okay, in a group of files, and this information was being used to vet individuals that were coming up, were being considered for some high-level government positions. And this information was about their personal lives, because they wanted to know if there was anything in their personal lives that the Russians could use to blackmail them. So, you know, if somebody had a drinking problem, if someone was secretly gay, or a gambling problem, or anything that the Russians could use as leverage against them, that was in these files. And there were a lot of these files. There was a lot of information. And that information needed to be accessed in a very timely manner. Okay? So the director of the CIA commissioned the creation of something called a database. Okay, but this wasn't going to be like any of the sequential databases that they're using at the time. This was going to be something new, something called a relational database. I know it's sad, but you know, there was a time when we didn't have these things, right? So, 3 very smart computer consultants were hired, and they created the software for this new relational database. And just to give you a hint, it was written in assembler. Later, they wrote it in C. And 2 of these 3 consultants, because they didn't like one of them, later went on to found a company called Oracle, where they started marketing their relational database to the business community. Now we have this relational database, and all the information that had been scattered around in these files was now in the database. Okay? So they needed a computer program to access the data in a timely fashion when it came time to researching a particular candidate. And they called this program the black box program because no one was supposed to know how it worked. Okay? Now, and of course it was very, very secret. Okay? Only a handful of people knew about it. So, fast forward a few years, and this director of the CIA is now a vice president, and he's running for the presidency. And then there's this, the guy really he wasn't very likable. You know, he didn't have a lot of personality, you know, and there was this one Democratic candidate that everyone agreed was going to clean his clock if he got the nomination. And this guy was from Colorado. He was a senator from Colorado, and I think his name was Gary Hart. Now, this ex-CIA director, now politician, called up his friends and had them run a background check on this senator. And oh my God, he has not been taking his marital vows seriously. So this information was then leaked to a sympathetic journalist, okay, who then had to pretend to get the information by himself. It's called dual tracking or something like that, so you can't figure out where the information came from. But anyway, and that was the beginning of the corruption, because it didn't take anyone, I mean the people in the know, very long to figure out what happened, right? And they all wanted a piece. And that is how this evil love triangle was created between corrupt politicians, the intelligence community, and journalists. You see, here's how it worked. This is how they all benefited. The corrupt politicians got to eliminate, they got free opposition research, very good opposition research that in most cases allowed them to get rid of any competitors that they were worried about. Okay. For the journalists, they were able to get a steady stream of scoops. Okay. And for the IT community, these people, the cooperative ones, all got promoted. All went to the very tippity top. Because the politicians were the ones that got to fill those positions. Okay. And now this has been going on for years, decades. Okay. And I had a real problem with that. Okay. And I wrote about it in my book, The Patriotic Rogue. Okay. It's all out there. And that was published before the election. It's published in like February 2016. Okay. Now, and so that's how it all happened. Right. Now, because I think that there might be some other people besides YouTubers watching this video, I want to give a little information so that those individuals that might have something a little more powerful than Google to look up information on me, I want to give them some information so that they'll know, you know, who I am, because I don't think their management has told. Their management knows who I am, but they might not. Okay, so this is what you want to do, my dear friends. Okay, how do I know about the Black Box program? Because in 1992, while working as a consultant on for the U.S. Customs contract at the Newington, Virginia facility, I was a contractor employed by KCM Consulting. Okay, and I was given the task of documenting the Black Box program. Yes, now of course, as you can imagine, how did that happen? Because you were never issued a user ID or login. Well, I was given a user ID and login to do my work. And gee, with a program so sensitive, after all, the government won't even admit that the program exists or that the databases exist. How did they get around that? Oh, the director was kind enough to loan me his user ID and password. And as you know from earlier in this video, I'm very curious and I like to find secrets. Anyway, so let's get back to the program. Let me be specific about how the program works. There are actually two programs. There's the front end, the CICS program, and the batch program. And the people only really accessed the CICS program. They would put in the information they needed, okay, and then the CICS program would create a one record request record that went into a flat file that the batch program that only ran at night would create, okay, and then it would compile a report and send it back to that user, okay. Now, for the batch program, yes, the program accessed at least two databases, the databases that we were talking about. But those weren't the only ones. They also accessed state police records. Okay. Now let me be specific because things have changed. But in 1992, there were two state police databases. California had their own, and everybody else had to share the other one. Okay. The program also accessed all the alphabets. FBI, CIA, all of them. And it even accessed Interpol. Yes. And I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I had to peek. Anyway. Alright? Now, I was careful because I knew that they were watching it because somebody, some lobbyist got caught selling these things on the black market for 35 grand a pop. But I wasn't interested in money. I was just interested in satisfying my curiosity. Anyway, in 1992, it seemed to me like it was pretty under control. But then it got freaking out of hand. So I started talking. Okay. And I did some other things that annoyed these people. And that's why they screwed with my criminal record to punish me. You know. And, oh, by the way, how'd that work out for you guys? Anyway, by the way, I don't think my request for monetary compensation was that outrageous. And I'm betting, you know, this all could have been avoided if you had just been reasonable. Anyway, I made that last point up. Anyway, the point is that that's how this thing all started. Okay, and I wanted to share that with you. And now I saw our dear leader, the God Emperor, announce to the media as he's getting ready to get on Marine Force One that he hopes that his greatest success, his greatest achievement as president, will be exposing the deep state corruption. Oh, looks like things are breaking my way. Anyway, there you go. That's how things got as bad as they did. It all started with a CIA director turned politician that abused his power to get elected. And then it spread like a virus through the whole frickin' system. And now that system is going to be cleansed. Now, I'd like to say that, you know, this is going to be the end of it, but you know what? Humans are corrupt. We might get a generation or two out of it, but really, we're just going to have to continue to stay vigilant. So anyway, I hope you found this video enlightening, and I hope you enjoyed it. And with that, we're going to let you go because we're already close to 15 minutes here. Talk to you later.